Call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, February 9th, 2026. Our first item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from the January 26th meeting. Motion by Ms. Stambaugh, second by Mr. Walker. Any last comments, thoughts? All right, all those in favor show by raising a hand. Carries 6-0. That's hard. Any special requests or continuances? Seeing none. No findings of fact. Old business docket number PC 2025-079 Swartz Farms zone map change. Petitioner is John Cunningham on behalf of J. Greg Allen and Associates, requesting a zone map change for approximately 96.09 acres located at the southeast corner of Stones Crossing Road and Smoky Row Road and Honey Creek Road. This is a public hearing, so all those speaking in favor will have 15 minutes to present. Any speaking against will have 15 minutes as well. All those wishing to speak to this matter, please stand and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear on the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
Okay. Mr. Cunningham, if you want to go ahead. We can just get your name and address for the record while we're.
John Cunningham, J. Greg Allen and Associates Inc. with that address at 1146 North Emerson Avenue, Greenwood, Indiana, 46143. And as stated, this is with respect to the request of rezoning the Schwartz Farm located at the southeast corner of Honey Creek and Stones Crossing from its current part of the zoned ag, part of its zoned RL to an RM designation with a RA designation within that. So here's the surrounding area of the farm and the portion in question. The Schwartz do own a handful of parcels here. The ones highlighted on this map are the parcels in question. They're going to retain ownership of their frontage along Stones Crossing. And this diagram is what is left. Abuts on Honey Creek Road, also comes out on Stones Crossing, providing the 2 points of egress. Currently surrounded by the school to the east, another parcel that is owned by the school south of that, and then with RL surrounding us and RM subdivisions in Honey Creek, Cobblestone, and the like. This is a photo showing looking back towards looking southeast from Stones Crossing and Honey Creek. The portion that's mowed there is the portion that the Swartz School retains ownership of, and ours starts right about at the farm, the piece that we're discussing this evening. Here's the overall zoning map showing what we've got here. As I said, this piece is currently zoned ag. We've got RL to our west, obviously the school to the north and the east of us, and then to the south, just rezoned, I believe, to RM for another project, and RM zoning to our north as well. So looking at the comprehensive plan for this area, this does fall into the single family residential portion of the comprehensive plan, which is our intent to keep with that plan and develop to that. The only sort of oddity in the neighborhood is the community facility, which of course is the school in blue there. So for the comprehensive plan, for single-family residential, we should be shooting for single-family dwellings, attached or detached. That is what we are planning for this development, is a community of primarily single-family dwellings with a handful of rear patios attached, which we will speak to in a minute. So here's the overall site plan. Our partner on this is Fisher Homes, who we've done a couple successful developments down here with, that be the end user as planned. And it's 280 units, 280 lots total. What we've done here is we've mixed 5 different product types in the neighborhood, and unlike kind of the traditional way that this would have gotten done, where you have a section of one, and then a section of another type, and then a section of another, we try to intermix those throughout the neighborhood, so it's more of a cohesive neighborhood, and you don't have a bunch of one type glommed together and then followed by a high concentration of another. So working through that, we have proposed 78 what we call paired patio homes. Those are maintenance free. That product is aimed towards the empty nester. Primary bedroom, 1 main, a lot of single story units. Some units, floor plans are offered in 2-story with a bonus room upstairs for another bedroom, craft room, things like that. Then moving on to just the patio home, which is a very similar line, only detached. They don't share a common wall. We have 34 of those proposed in this development. Again, maintenance free, aimed at the empty nester community. Then moving on through it, what Fisher calls their Maple Street product, 77 of those units, that's more of a first-time home buyer unit. The idea here is that in theory, you could move in there as a first-time home buyer, move your way up through the products, and end up in the same neighborhood as an empty nester and or in your latter years with fully maintained properties. Go out of the Maple Street into the Designer Series, and we'll get into examples of all these as we move through this. And then from there, the Masterpiece Series are their larger homes on larger lots. So in all, 96 acres, 280 units, 2.9 units per acre, and we've got about 12 acres of storm parks. One thing I don't know that we specifically addressed in here, this will have a community pool and community building as part of the development, and that is shown in light green on this map, sort of in the middle of everything. I spoke earlier to the fact that this is we're asking for 2 zonings here, 1 RM and then RA, in an effort to mix the product again. The RA is not all together. We actually have 2 pieces of RA. So the one on the top left, that odd shape, is 3.9 acres rough and ready, and the one on the bottom, sort of in the center there, is 8.6 acres for a total 12.4 of RA, leaving 83 acres remainder RM. And again, those were set up along the lines of mixing that product, and also in this case brought some of that product into the belly of the project, if you will, keeping it surrounded by single family and larger lots. So working through the series, these are some of the examples of the Fisher Homes product that could go here. Obviously, we'll go through all the point system and make sure that each individual one meets the ordinance. But at this point, just some examples. These are examples of their Masterpiece Series. This will be the largest series in the development. And you can go on through. The Designer Series, which is the step below that, large mix, and then the Maple Series, which is the sort of what we look at as the first-time home buyer. Patio home, these are the non-paired patios shown here. So freestanding, one dwelling unit per building. And then we've got the paired patio homes, which 2 units, no more than 2, sharing a common wall. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll see some of these have a second story and others do not. So back to the request, as we said, it's currently zoned to ag and RL, proposing to the RM and RA. We've got 96 acres, 280 lots, 2.9 units per acre, and 12.2 acres of green space. As you've seen in the staff report, we've received staff recommendation for approval that it does meet the single family residential, and also yeah, this one. Okay, you can go to the next one. Some of the things that we've addressed here, we've got the 5 different home types trying to hit across a wide range of buyers, mixed use of homes, if you will. Again, we've spoken extensively about the green space stormwater, 2.9 units per acre. We've agreed to the road widening, the XL decel lanes, and then the roundabout fund that's been discussed for all the folks in this area. We have had a meeting with Clark Pleasant Schools for multiple reasons on this one of which being because they're our neighbor. So we went to the board hearing. We did receive, which I believe is in your packet, a favorable recommendation, and that it will not overburden the schools. They also at that meeting approved us. Sometimes educational facilities are squeamish about having a secondary entrance brought into their property. They were fine with that. And to be clear, that is on the undeveloped portion of their property. So our request is for, since this meets with the comprehensive plan, we've got staff approval that this rezone or rezones be approved.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this project? All right, seeing none, all those wishing to speak against this project?
Good evening. My name is Michael B. Heisen. I reside at 2925 South Honey Creek Road, Greenwood, Indiana. I own 2 properties with 3 land parcels that are adjacent to the west boundary of the proposed project. And so on one hand, I guess I want to clarify that I recognize Greenwood's development plans, and I accept those. But there's a few things about this plan that I guess I'd like to bring to the board's attention. A little bit of background. My wife and I have lived at this property for 32 years, almost 32 years. And we have approximately 13 acres. And on those 13 acres, we have a number of land uses and agricultural practices. I have brought these to the attention of the Swartz family. Well, they actually are well aware of that. We've been neighbors for 32 years. And then I've discussed it with the developer and brought to their attention that we have horses and livestock on the farm. Our property is fenced, and so we have that security for our livestock. I have a hay production business. We're about 9.5 acres of hay that we make hay and feed our horses as well as sell hay. We have pastures for grazing those horses, and then here in the last 3 or 4 years, my wife and I have started a cut flower business and are developing portions of our property as flower cultivation and cut flower beds. So we've enjoyed our property, obviously, for the last 32 years. We take pride in what we've accomplished there, our investment improvements we've made. And it's our hope that we'll be able to continue to enjoy our property as Greenwood expands around us and makes sensible and responsible decisions about what is the appropriate plan or development in that area. So I recognize that this change is inevitable, but I'm interested in that future change being compatible with the current and existing land uses. My neighbors are also large lot residential properties. Most of our property is zoned agricultural. Portions of my two properties are residential large. That's because Greenwood made that decision for me a number of years ago. And we can work within those requirements and those specifications. What I am concerned with is maybe the density of this property, the zoning proposal or request. As I look at the future land use plan in the comprehensive plan, this area, as you look at the staff report and the graphic that they share with you, is single residential family. And I go to the comprehensive plan and look for the requirements of single family residential. And the primary use is single family dwellings attached or detached. Now, in addition to that, the next designation in the comprehensive plan is mixed residential. And if you read the primary uses of mixed residential, it does include single family dwellings, townhomes, duplexes, tri and quadplexes, patio homes, and small scale multifamily homes. It's my understanding and interpretation that the site plan that was presented would include patio homes and, as they refer to it, as paired patios, which may be the same as a duplex. So I raise the question as to whether this zoning request to include the residential attached is consistent with your comprehensive plan, and if this is the right decision for Greenwood to make as they look to developing the Swartz property or approving the development of the Swartz property. The patio homes are adjacent to my property. I did not hear the applicant references, but I have had the pleasure to speak with them and work with them. And I've asked that they consider the transition between their residential uses and our agricultural uses. And it's my understanding, I have a verbal commitment from them for buffering, for berms, for trees to help that transition. And I would ask that the Advisory Plan Commission make note of that and also strongly encourage. I understand you may not be able to require that, but I think it's important for those agricultural uses that we do have that transition and that buffering. And it's my understanding is that the developer has committed to that. And so I'd like to see that. But I'm concerned with maybe the density at this point. I recognize that we're going to have houses after 32 years. Things are going to change. But as I expressed earlier, I would like to be able to continue to enjoy my property and know that I have the safety with more neighbors for our livestock enterprise, for our enterprises that we are using our land for. And so I look forward to a positive decision. I guess my one concern would be that is this complete zoning request appropriate for that land use for Greenwood's plan? And so thank you for your attention. And so I recognize that at some point I'm going to have houses, and I welcome that because I want to stay where I'm at. But I'd like for it to be an intelligent decision and have the right plan to fit Greenwood's comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Larry Cornell. I live at 1057 West Stones Crossing Road. My concern is infrastructure impact. The roads are way overloaded the way they are, especially Honey Creek. Honey Creek's 35 mile an hour. There's never any cops on it that's patrolling it from Stones Crossing south. People are flying up and down the road. The proposed subdivision encompasses 3 sides of a 5-acre tract I have in the field, which will basically make this property worthless to me. I'll have houses all the way around it with really no access to it other than through me. Nobody's approached. I wouldn't mind selling it, but nobody's approached me to even consider looking at it. So, also my property, I've been there 20 years now. I do have the occasional farm animals, pigs or cows. I don't see any fencing they're gonna put up. Is it gonna restrict my land use? Or like vegetation fencing, anything to block noise and things. Pretty much my concerns. But the big concern is that 5 acres I have, that they go all the way around. Really gonna hurt the value. So I just want that to be known, and hopefully we can work with the developer and get something done. Thanks.
Mr. Cunningham, you have 5 minutes to respond.
You have my slides back, please. Thank you. No, you're fine. First off, with respect to the gentleman's comments that spoke first, I apologize. It was in my presentation. It's written in here somewhere. We have spoken with the landowners. So this is, for point of reference, this is dealing with our western boundary of the Long Lake, sort of where the orange and yellow houses are. Those property owners, they are, as he pointed out, in various forms of active farms, so to speak, small farms. And I have committed to him and am willing to put it in the commitments that, yes, we will mound and provide arborvitaes or landscaping along those mounds to help buffer the residential from the livestock going down through there. They've been excellent to work with and appreciate that. I'm trying to come up with something that works well for all. Secondarily, if I go back to the comprehensive plan, to address the fact that it is single-family residential, and under the uses of primary uses, in fact, of the comprehensive plan, it speaks to single-family dwellings attached or detached, which that is what we have here with the paired patio product. It is an attached product of 2 units, no more. So I am of the opinion that within the comprehensive plan, we meet that requirement. As far as the Colonel property, to be clear, the property in question there comes down a little bit of a peninsula between our greens. Yes, thank you for pointing. I can't. So we have tried to put uses around that are as few homes as possible. We did look at that. My engineers, there's been a makeshift pond lagoon of sorts that you can kind of see there in the middle that's come about over the years, I presume with farming. And my engineers have recommended that I just stay away from that. We've continued this 3 times already, trying to get this put together, and that's just a lot of yellow flags, at least in their minds. So that's why we chose to work around it. Certainly, we want to be a good neighbor and want him to enjoy his land, which is a great piece of land. I think it has a couple pretty good uses, but just not as part of this cohesive development.
Thank you. Would either of you have 5 minutes combined if you want to respond?
Thank you. My name is Michael Nienhuisen, and I just want to express my appreciation for the developer's interest in maintaining good transition between the existing land uses and their proposed developments. And so I just express that appreciation, and I'm glad that we were able to get that on the record so that we can continue to be good neighbors and work closer together. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that, I will turn it over to staff before I close the public hearing.
Yep, so staff is favorable of this zone map change. As is pointed out, the comprehensive plan does support both single-family dwellings, both attached and detached. And it says while new development in the area should mostly include single-family homes, it's important to incorporate a mix of housing types to enhance diversity. I think they've done a good job of locating the residential attached, which would be more for targeted 55 plus, aging in place, staying in the community. They've thoughtfully placed those in areas that are completely surrounded by new construction of single family homes. Personally, I think that a paired patio fits into a residential neighborhood. Some people may not want that bordering them, and they have taken that advice and bordered it with the residential medium homes. So I think they've done a really good job of working with the neighbors, or at least the concerns that I've heard. Staff did recommend a favorable recommendation with 7 commitments that we included in our staff report. Those are mostly to deal with things that are going to come up during the site plan. This is a zone map change, so really we're looking at the underlying zoning layers. There still could be changes as far as trails, street, location of some of the lots. There are quite a few cul-de-sacs in here. That's something we may want to look at limiting. As someone who recently took a spin in a plow, cul-de-sacs can be pretty difficult. So we'll work with the developer more on that with the site plan. But as far as the proposed land uses and the intent, I think this is a really nice project, and I'm supportive of the zone map change. I did want to bring up one thing. It was mentioned that they would offer maybe a bounding or a tree border or berm. That wouldn't necessarily come from our zoning regulations. Staff does not see the necessity of the the single-family housing buffering from a farm field. It's typically the single-family homes that actually want to buffer from the agricultural uses, so this is kind of a reverse of what we're used to, but that's not something that the ordinance would require. If they are going to adopt any sort of condition surrounding this, I would just ask that they be clear on the number of trees, the height or size of the mound, because this would have draining implications as well as rise, the slope of the mound, and would potentially cut into some of those lots. So just to be clear on what we're looking at, so that staff can accurately review the site plan, and it's not up to my interpretation, and then someone's mad because the mound was supposed to be higher, and they, so just to be clear with whatever's adopted.
All right, and with that, I'll close the public hearing and open it to the commissioners for questions, comments.
So I have a few questions. This sounds very similar to a previous zone map change that we just did, in the last 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I was a little bit confused, and I have a question for Mr. Cunningham. The density, where's the highest density located on the sites? And then I'm curious about whether or not that density could be stepped down closer to the ag areas.
So the highest density is actually, yeah, sorry, but you did this again. If you look in your packet, it is we've got the colorblind guy on this, but it's what I would call purple or brown. So it's the hole in the middle of the donuts. We moved that into the center as far away from the public places or neighbors as we could. And it really works out well for everything. And I think it makes a more cohesive neighborhood. Fisher's done this a couple other municipalities, and I've driven them, and I walked one day, and it really, it's kind of neat.
Right, and that's how I interpreted it as well. I just wanted to make sure.
That's the highest density. The patio homes, which are still single family, are the orange, then around it, and we sort of work our way out.
And then the second part of what I was hoping to discuss among the commissioners is, if we did write in an 8th commitment, it's my recommendation, my thinking, that rather than us laying down everything now, we say that they need to continue, the developers need to continue to work with the planning department to decide the specifics that would work best for the existing areas.
I'm trying to think of somewhere we can draw language from for buffering.
I kind of did 4 weeks ago. We didn't give any specifics on height, berm, width. We didn't do that.
I guess just from a staff's perspective, I'm not in favor of buffering residential from an architect or an agricultural user. Eggplant to me is kind of a large buffer. If the developer and the property owner wanted to put in place some sort of a written agreement between them or came to some conclusion, that's what I would recommend. I don't really see this as something for the city to enforce between these owners. I think our ordinance lays out our buffering, and that is what we should follow.
My only thought would be we're with agriculture here, we're not talking about cropland, which would be a buffer. We're talking more about livestock that does have, like we've just seen, a little more, I don't want to say impact, but
Public health implications.
contact. Contact.
Just because you don't have livestock yet doesn't mean you won't. I mean, if it's ag, right? So it's kind of hard to differentiate what they want to use it for.
Right, and if they've got horses, people, yeah.
My concern is, if it is a commitment, it has to be enforceable. So planning does need specifics and details to say they did not meet the
Yeah.
requirements of the commitment. So to leave it kind of general and vague, how do you enforce it when it's not clear what it's supposed to be? That would be difficult.
It'd be too arbitrary.
Mhm.
And I fear that we're going to continue to have the same conversation over and over as more ag just attempted to be rezoned.
Can we commit them to do their own project? They should.
That's really between them.
Then you start getting into, well, it's a private agreement, it's not, are we a third-party beneficiaries of their private agreement such that we have the right to enforce it? And that the area.
I'm just trying to think of ways to.
Yeah.
'Cause I see the concern, I do, and we did just, I believe, put that kind of commitment on the Smoky Grove project for the exact same livestock.
Yep.
So,
So the light green is all green space, right?
Parks and amenities.
Yeah, so like in that one area there, there's six homes that, no, 3 homes. But up to that, the rest of it's all green space.
well,
You know, down here, but I don't know how you avoid that. I mean, it's all subdivision.
the bottom left is that right?
Correct.
That's where we're talking about, around the orange and yellow.
Correct.
And the other remonstrators land is, just to confirm,
On the
One
orange.
for that, but
along Orange 2.
The orange and yellow are what we're
With the
discussing.
livestock.
Yeah, the other ones, Mr. Walker is correct. We have 1, 2, 3 lots that about that, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did our best to put our ponds and park/amenity up against that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's 2 different color greens. One that's more blue, those are actually ponds. They would have common area there, and they'd either be dry or wet detention ponds. This would all be kind of worked through with the engineers. Planning does have requirements that they incorporate trails into their common areas. So there would likely be an interconnected trail network for exercise and the residents to enjoy that kind of routes its way throughout the subdivision. It's a quality of life thing that we look to add, but some of these are not parks or greens. It could be more of a detention pond area.
I think then my thought would be on any commitments is we would actually, in a rare instance, say no trail along that side to discourage walking along that. That way, then you're putting the least amount of engagement, yeah, thank you, along that side. It would just be whoever the residents are who are likely the orange empty nesters, is that right? I think the orange.
Yes.
And I think that might help. That might be the only way I think would be really enforceable by the city, is we say, okay, we want trails except in this one area. Nothing along that border. Otherwise, the trails, I love those ideas, but that might help discourage more public engagement from that area.
And the fear is people are going to jump over his property and
My concern is both livestock coming out of that ag or people going to it. And all of this is to say the final site plan would put a trail there. I mean, it may not. But that would be the only way I could think that the city could have an enforceable mechanism. The buffering, I like the idea, but what's to say the site plan doesn't change at all and orange flips to the other side of the street? That has to be, that's the thing. Then we've committed them to doing this landscaping buffer around the pond. Now, again, I'm not saying that, but there's a number of hypotheticals that could happen.
Yeah, the buffering that was discussed by the petitioner was not around the pond,
Right.
the lagoon area, but there's very limited housing there.
Well,
I
I'm saying.
guess I'm not seeing why we would buffer a lagoon area.
No, I'm just saying, hypothetically, this site plan could drastically change. The orange areas could become a pond. And if we slapped any kind of landscaping buffer commitment, then we've just said, now you have to buffer a pond for no real reason. I'm just saying, we have to do realize this is proposed, it's not set in stone, yeah.
That first commitment, as it's written by staff, Dave, it's saying that development shall comply with applicable building design, landscaping, buffering, subdivision standards. Does that feel safe enough for you as far as city planning department goes? To cover the most necessary pieces that would help address the issues brought up by the demonstrators, specifically the people in the empty nester oranges? Because I don't know the details within number one.
Like I said, we don't have buffering requirements from a residential use to an agricultural use. It's never been in our unified development standards. Developers, when they look to rezone an area that's agricultural to residential, and they're viewing our standards, would see that it is not a required buffering area. And oftentimes that land does become residential as well. It may not, but then you have a buffer between residential and residential. Typically, it's the more intense like use, if it's a agricultural or industrial or commercial. They would be the ones, if they are going in next to a residential area, that would be required to buffer. It is, I think it's a lot of not in my backyard. If you are asking for a residential neighborhood to buffer from an area that it is open for farming activities, these people, if they move into that house that borders a farm, understand that that farm use is there. There are rights, there's nuisance law and stuff that supports agricultural uses when people have moved to it. When you move to it, you really don't have a case if you don't like the cow in your backyard or the smell. So I really am not, I have no concerns about the buffering. If people are concerned about it, they could build a fence on their own property to, keep their kids in, or if they're afraid that the cow's gonna get loose. But I don't think it would be the city's spot to maybe add an additional buffering requirement here.
Clarify, thank you.
So if that is a concern that they have, I would just ask that they work on that. And if there is something that they do want to commit, or you guys or council wants to commit, it just needs to be clear so staff can enforce it.
Anybody else? All right, give statutory criteria.
I do have statutory criteria, but on the motion, the property, I want to clarify, is currently zoned agricultural and RL residential large, and that was left off of there, so that has been, that you should want to include that when you're talking about what you're changing it from and to. But in making your recommendation, please pay reasonable regard to the following: 1, the comprehensive plan; 2, current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district; 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted; 4, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction of Greenwood; and 5, responsible development and growth.
I do have a question on this. At the southeast corner of Stones Crossing Road and Smoky Row Road in Honeycomb. Smoky Row. is
What we're
not-
talking about, no,
No,
that's how,
it's stones and
I think that's how it was kind of described in the original staff report we had, so.
Stones Crossing and Honey Creek.
Stones in there.
Honey, Stones and Honey Creek,
I got you.
yeah, Honey Creek Road.
Yeah, I think we're ready for a motion.
I move that the petition for a zone map change to rezone its approximately 96.09 acres of land located at the southeast corner of Stones Crossing Road and Honey Creek Road within the city of Greenwood, Johnson County, Indiana, from agricultural district and RL residential large to RM residential medium lot zone and RA residential attached single family zone as set forth therein, received a favorable recommendation from the commission to the Greenwood Common Council, and that the same be certified to the Greenwood Common Council in the form presented with the following commitments. Number one, the development shall comply with all applicable building design, landscaping, buffering, and subdivision standards outlined in the UDO. Number two, trails shall be designed and constructed in accordance with the Greenwood Future Trail Network map and applicable trail standards in the comprehensive plan and UDO. Number three, a traffic study, TIS, shall be completed. Scope TIS parameters with the engineering division. Number four, work with the engineering and planning staff to determine a restrictive donation amount based on TIS for the proposed future roundabouts of Honey Creek and Smoky Row Road and Tracy Road and Honey Creek Road / Wetland Road. Number five, roadway improvements along the entire Honey Creek Road frontage for this property project, including roadway widening from 12 feet to 0 inches lanes, both sides, mill and 1.5-inch overlay of an entire roadway across entire frontage, along with acceleration and deceleration lanes and passing blister. Improvements and alignment shall be completed in coordination with the engineering division. Number six, acceleration and deceleration lanes and passing blister shall be shown on plans for Woodsville Road / Stones Crossing Road entrance. And number seven, any recommendations or improvements identified by the TIS shall be coordinated with the engineering division.
Motion by Ms. Stambaugh, second by Mr. Milborn. Any last thoughts, comments? Saying none, all those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Thank you. Next up, PC 2025-081, church property zone map change. Excuse me. Petitioner is also Mr. Cunningham on behalf of J. Greg Allen Associates, requesting a zone map change for approximately 16.43 acres located at 1225 West Smoky Row Road. Current zoning is AG agriculture, and the proposed zoning is medium residential RM and residential attached RA. All those wishing to speak to this, please stand and be sworn in.
Do you swear and taste for perjury, the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
Hello again. John Cunningham with J. Greg Allen and Associates with offices at 1146 North Emerson Avenue, Suite 103, Greenwood, Indiana, 46143. So yes, as stated, this is requested zoning map change for two of the products that we just discussed, but we'll go through this as though we didn't just discuss all this, but maybe do it a little quicker. Properties currently are two parcels owned by two different churches. We have put those under contract to acquire those. In total, it's 16.43 acres. And our plan for this property, here's a little bit of an overview. So the Lone Pines Farms currently has an entrance that comes in and dead end stubs into this property on its what is our property's western boundary. Their eastern, that's called Foxtail Lane. And so we've got our, well, we'll get into all that in a second. That would be one point of egress, and then we will come out onto Smoky Row with our other. Surrounding us, in addition to Lone Pines, we've got the Atkins Johnson development, which just came before zoning December, I believe. And it's also Fisher Homes. This is another project that we plan to do with Fisher Homes on our properties. And we're looking at this as, even though they're completely separate in nature and as separate as far as you're concerned, we're looking at this as a cohesive development that we can kind of do all at once on the same intersection and provide a little bit of a different housing mix. Here's a photo of the property looking south and west. It's currently, there's one home on one of the properties. The other church is just a field of sorts. So here we look at the zoning map, which has us currently zoned ag. The one thing that has changed since this map was printed is the piece to the north has now been rezoned, the Atkins Johnson piece to RM. We have, as previously mentioned, RM to our east, to our south. We've got the power station. There's one property between us and Honey Creek residents that I think also operates a landscaping operation out there. And then we've got the substation and the new solar field to our west. Sorry, to our east. Here's the comprehensive plan again, calling for single-family residential in the portion that we're talking about here. There's a odd angle across what is the neighbor's property, but we believe it. Ours all falls within what is called for as single-family residential. And again, the comprehensive plan under single-family residential calls for the primary uses to be single-family dwellings, attached and detached, which is what we are proposing here. Here's our overall site plan. This product type is a mix of RM, which are the patio, again geared towards empty nesters, 55 and older. This entire development is considered maintenance free, so everything will be done for the people. And then we also have the paired patios again, which leads us to a zoning breakdown. The whole piece is 16.43 acres. We're asking for 12.6 to be RA and 3.8 to be RM. Again, we tried to mix them amongst each other as best we could on this small piece. The one thing I will mention, this drawing takes into account the proposed roundabout and the most recent revised proposal to that roundabout. So currently, obviously that intersection does not look like that, but we were asked to plan towards it, so that's what is shown here. I don't know that I mentioned total of 69 lots in here. Here's a little zoning overall, shows where the RM is, where the RA is, and breaks that down into its various acreages. Again, some renderings of Fisher's proposed product on the patio home side. These are freestanding. Again, there's a mix of 1- and 2-story units available in there. And then we've got the paired units as well, with some of those being both single and 2-story. So our request is to go from agriculture to RM and RA. Again, total 16.43 acres, 69 units, 4.2 units per acre. It is a little higher density on this one. But trying to create a maintenance-free community. We did receive staff recommendations for approval, and we've read all of their commitments that they're asking us to agree to. We would agree with all of those. Again, housing diversity, we've agreed to also the Smoky Road frontage improvements, Excel decel, and a contribution to the roundabout. We're working with everybody involved to try to figure out, what I would like to avoid is putting a bunch of money into a road that's going to get moved and torn up, and then I'd rather us all use the money towards getting that roundabout sooner than later. I think everybody would agree it's needed. So. Again, these are just all the commitments that the city staff has asked us to do, which we have agreed to. To summarize everything, we believe it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. It's got staff recommendation. It's compatible with those uses existing around us that are currently being built, and it provides a little bit of a different housing option for this market of Greenwood. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Since there were no remonstrators, staff?
Yeah, staff is favorable. We agree with the petitioner's statements. The future land use map actually depicts this area as mixed density residential. And I think a sliver of it as single family residential. This complies perfectly with those two zoning designations. It introduces attached and detached maintenance-free patio homes into a broader neighborhood network where we have the RM north of here that just went in. We have Lennar with Honey Creek that has residential and some alley loaded products as well. So we're really doing a good job in this area with this proposed zoning to provide diverse housing options, quality housing options for people at all different stages of life in Greenwood. So I do appreciate the work that they did on the site plan. Staff did have 6 recommendations with this one. Some of those will sound familiar to the last one regarding road improvements. One thing to note on the staff report, our existing land use map is no longer accurate since the area north of there did rezone to residential medium, which I only think adds to the cohesiveness of this area. And again, the site plan is not a finalized version. We'll be working with them on the primary plat as well as the secondary plat of the site layout. But at this time, we're recommending favorable approval with commitments.
All right, thank you. With that, I will close the public hearing and open it to the commissioners. Questions, thoughts? I have one. So how this, I think this more than the Atkins Johnson is affected by that future roundabout where we may be saying build an entry and then damage it. Do we have any way that kind of mitigates that? I'm just asking out of my own curiosity.
We haven't looked at it real close. I mean, the city, I've never heard of a date when roundabouts sort of been constructed. So it's sort of going to be like Honey Creek Meadows in the curve, the new S curve that was created from Morrisville down to Stones Crossing. That used to come in at a strange angle, and then once the new S curve was put in, it was just reconstructed and lined up.
So it's kind of, they'll have to build that out and then.
Well, actually, it may just build to the existing road right now.
Yeah.
And then the city, if and when the roundabout comes in, we would have to modify that to make it a 90-degree angle. Yeah.
This one's more affected, yeah.
Right.
So I think in here are recommendations to work on the improvements and alignment in coordination with the engineering division. If we do come to a date for the roundabout to be put in and we know of it during their plans, we're definitely going to work with them. No one wants to see duplicate work. But as Paul mentioned, that we don't right now have a date at this time, but we definitely would like to be reasonable with them. And I think that the common sense would prevail if we have something coming.
Yeah. All right, well, if nobody else has anything, I'll entertain a motion.
I will remind you of the statutory criteria. We always put that in the record. Please pay reasonable regard to the following when making your recommendation to the Common Council. 1, and 2, current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district. 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adopted. 4, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction of Greenwood. And 5, responsible development and growth.
Now I'll entertain a motion because I did forget that.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I move that the petition for zone map change to rezone approximately 16.43 acres of land located at 1225 West Smoky Road within the city of Greenwood, Johnson County, Indiana, from AG Agricultural District to RM Residential Medium Lot Zone and RA Residential Attached Single Family Zone as set forth therein, received a favorable recommendation for this commission to the Greenwood Common Council, and the same certified to Greenwood Common Council in the form presented with the following commitments. Bear with me. The development shall comply with all applicable building design, buffering, landscape, open space, and subdivision standards in the Unified Development Ordinance. Number 2, trails and/or multi-use paths shall be designed and constructed in accordance with the Greenwood Trail Network Map, the Greenwood Comprehensive Plan, the applicable UDO standards. Number 3, a traffic impact study (TIS) shall be completed. State TIS parameters with engineering division. Number 4, work with engineering and planning staff to determine a restricted donation amount based upon TIS for the proposed future roundabouts at Honey Creek Road, Smoky Row Road, Tracy Road, and Honey Creek Road / Whiteman Road. Number 5, roadway improvements along the entire Smoky Row Road frontage to be completed for this project per typical county road option number 1 detail with acceleration, deceleration lanes, and passing clusters. Proper right-of-way dedication, including the depiction of the proposed roundabout or intersection realignments of Honey Creek Road, Smoky Row Road / Tracy Road, to be shown on the plans. Improvements and alignments shall be completed in accordance with the engineering division. Number 6, any recommendations or improvements identified by TIS shall be coordinated with the engineering division.
We have a motion by Mr. Walker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stambaugh. Any last comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. You're off the hook now. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none, new business, PC 2025-038. Chipotle site plan waiver. Petitioner is Kevin Jones on behalf of ECC Smith Valley Property LLC, requesting 3 waivers from the Unified Development Ordinance.
2.
Yeah, it says 3, but there's only 2 listed. Street tree relocation and parking lot landscaping adjustment. All those, this is not a public. And all those wishing to speak, please go ahead and step up. What? Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Eric Prime, Behavioral Law Firm, 225 South Emerson, pinch hitting for Kevin Jones tonight on behalf of petitioner ECC Smith Valley Property LLC. I do not have a snazzy PowerPoint for you tonight, but prior to the meeting, I did pass out a small diagram that this is actually a very simple ask, so it did not merit going to the full PowerPoint scenario. What we're seeking is 2 related waivers that both deal with landscaping. If you look at that, the diagram that you have in front of you, the green and red arrows are showing what we're trying to do on the site. The city's ordinance requires a certain number of frontage trees and also requires a certain number of perimeter trees on a lot like this. But what we're dealing with, if you see that the 15-foot sanitary sewer easement has the blue hashed lines kind of swooping across the top of the lot. That and the fact that there's going to be a 10-foot asphalt trail there as well severely limits the area that we can put in trees. So we're not asking to diminish the number of trees, we're just asking to move them elsewhere on the site. So as you can see, the 3 red lines are trees that would have been required in that frontage area being moved to the bottom corner and then straight south. And then the green lines show the additional trees that we're dealing with the perimeter. That's it. It's a simple ask. We just would like to have these trees sited elsewhere on the site to make it make sense. Staff's favorable with the one request that one of the trees be moved to the curved area, kind of the inside curve of the bypass lane. That's in the sort of the, well, I guess the northwest corner of the site. You can see where the road kind of curves and has the two arrows coming down. And we're fine with that. We want to move trees there.
Okay. Staff have anything they want to add?
No, I think you covered that well. There's a sanitary sewer easement, and for a minimal deviation, we just asked that one of the trees be put in the green area where they've taken away some of that drive aisle. And I appreciate working with them on this one.
So really one tree lip southeast and one tree lip curve northwest.
Yeah, just one of the relocated trees we would like to have located up as close to the street as we can in that drive-through area that we've, in the staff report, just scribbled green in the corner. And they've corrected that on their plans already.
Okay. Commissioners, anything? Like everybody said, it's pretty simple. Simple ask, so I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the request of the ECC Smith Valley Property LLC for waiver of the requirements for the UDO, agreed with code section 10-3-6 landscaping buffer page that specifies planting of one street tree per 40 linear feet of frontage on subject to allow relocation of 3 of the required 5 straight trees from the north side of the property due to sanitary easement conflict, be approved with the condition that 1 street tree as approved by staff be added at the right blue bend, and that the planning commission finds the ECC Smith Valley LLC has met the criteria set forth by the Greenwood Municipal Code Section 10-4-3K for the waiver for the reasons set forth and request for the waiver and as presented.
Motion by Ms. Stimbaugh, second by Mr. Walker. Any last comments or thoughts? Seeing none, all those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries unanimously 6-0, so waiver is approved. Any new business from the?
Perimeter parking lot.
Oh,
We have another.
We have another motion, okay. That's not by me, sorry.
Yeah, we covered. Any questions?
Any other? So there's two requests.
Staff's comments the same on this one. They're really one and the same in a way, and we were supportive. Our comment would be, we're sorry that he had to go third, not first.
Yeah, you kind of got stuck in behind that. Okay, now we're ready for a motion.
All right, I move the request of the ECC Smith Valley Property LLC for waiver of the requirements of the UDO, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Section 10-3-6, landscaping and buffering J, parking lot landscaping 2, perimeter parking lot landscaping B that specifies amendment of 1, 2, 3, and 3 shrubs for 35 linear feet of planting at the corner of the parking lot to relocate perimeter plants to the east and west side of the property due to its site constraints be approved, and that the Plan Commission finds the ECC Smith Valley Property LLC has met the criteria set forth by the Greenwood Municipal Code Section 10-4-3K for the waiver for the reasons set forth in this request for the waiver as presented.
Motion by Ms. Stimbaugh, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Now the waiver's taken.
Thank you.
That was on. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none, any announcements?
Design workshop 2, for those of you that didn't hear, it's on our website, and we'll be posting a social media link. Just encourage you guys to share that, share your input on it. Appreciate it.
And one final motion. So moved. Stop the recording.